I want to talk about these really quickly. These are learner wills. This is what we're doing today. You are going to build vocab for reading and writing, which we already did, or started to. Yes? Yeah. Can we give it a giant check? Yeah. All right. This is the next place I want to go. I want to go in this order, right? This will be here, and this will be here. So I want to examine and discuss anchor questions for Frankenstein. If you're examining and discussing something, what's the point? What are we doing? You're what? You're looking at it, right? You're examining, you look at it. Oh, I like that.
Practice.
So you're looking at something and evaluating it. What's the value or the purpose for discussing?
Argue.
It might be to argue.
A verbal response.
To get some kind of a verbal response, right? Here's my question. Why do I want you to discuss things in class so much? Like, what's the purpose? It's not just to suck up class time.
Because it's fun.
It definitely, hang on, it is fun, but I like Jacqueline's answer to understand other people's viewpoints, right? Because so often we get stuck in our own head, and you hear what the teacher says, you're like, okay, so this is what I think, this is what the teacher said, and that's it, there's nothing else. True?
False.
Is that what happens a lot?
Yeah.
Yes. But, you're right, Isaac, it is false in that, everybody has a very different take on it. So we're going to talk about what the anchor questions are. Then we're going to examine the life of Mary Shelley, who is the woman who wrote Frankenstein. We will thank her later. What? This is what's going to happen. I want to start. You all started to think about these. I want you to get into small groups. I'm going to put you into small groups. I know, because you always work with the same people, and so it's reasonable to start working with some different people. Kevin, ready? Listen very, very carefully. Whatever group number you are is the question that you are going to be discussing. You are going to have 5 minutes, only 5, because you're only discussing your question. This is not necessarily an argument. Now, if you have different viewpoints, it's reasonable that you may kind of have that kind of a debate. The point is this. You are going to then, at the end of 5 minutes, report out to us a little bit on what your group discussed and kind of what you thought of these. Fair enough?
We're at 5 minutes.
The other part of what you need to do is this. If there are pieces of this that are slightly confusing or that maybe need to be clarified, so what behaviors can we justify, you might need to figure out exactly what justify means, right? So your group's going to be responsible for sharing that with us. So, are there behaviors that people exhibit? Maybe it's pretty behaviors that are justifiable based on circumstances. What would those circumstances be?
It's not really
and like she said, how you take what you're learning basically.
Yeah, and then what you were
what you really
Okay, yes. Wouldn't that be awesome? That's what I was thinking, Walt Disney, he created all that and then he made it happen and he said if you can think it, you can do it. Just
let's talk about these. So group number 1 talked about what influences human behavior. Group number 1. You guys discussed on what influences human behavior. Just behavior is pretty terrible. Okay? What else? Alexis, they were pointing at you.
I said family traits.
Family traits might influence human behavior. Do you agree or disagree with these statements?
Agree.
I'm agreeing. I'll agree with it.
I don't know, maybe if you have blonde hair and you're man, I really don't like my hair.
That's not what I mean.
If I was that behavior.
That's not what she was talking about.
Maybe the way you put that.
Like you have right-handed or left-handed influences my behavior.
But it really could.
Yeah.
If you're personally, me.
All of these at some point. Please no. Group number 2. What behaviors can we justify? So you looked up. Stay with me. What does justify mean, or what do we mean by justify?
It means to provide a good reason for something.
Okay. All right. So justify is to provide some kind of a good reason, a reasonable excuse, or just a reason in general. So what did you come up with? What behaviors do you think we can justify?
We said, basically we just said behaviors in general are justified by every consequence we go through.
Okay, so behaviors are justified because there's a consequence for things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Anything else? So my question to this group, because some of these you'll notice are intentionally very broad, right? They're incredibly vague, and there's a purpose for that. Okay? Does anybody disagree with that idea? No, stay with me. Does anybody disagree with that idea that circumstances don't justify certain behaviors? Are there any behaviors that are not justifiable,
Yes.
Heather? It dictates a person's morals. First of all, what are morals? Things that you what? That you live by, right? Like ideas or kind of principles that you live by. What dictates a person's morals? Okay, so manipulating something, right, at like the genetic level. Yes? So, Monique had already read a little bit about this in one of her classes and explained to us how you read about it.
We read about it as in like more of a
That's not genetic
Less
though.
realistic.
That would be, I would go more along the lines of like stem cells.
Okay.
Stem cells or I don't
Stem cells, that's a good one.
I don't know exactly what else you would say besides that.
Besides stem cells?
I mean, there is other things out there, obviously.
Okay.
Would you get that one as genetic?
Well, you could say the example about the
Yeah, well, hang on. Go ahead, Alexis.
with like saving, like, the saver.
Yeah, that could be possibly, right? So there are
Selective breeding,
for
essentially.
breeding.
That's like selective breeding, essentially.
It is, so the idea of selective breeding might be genetic engineering. At our conversation at this moment, because we'll keep talking about it, does your group think it's a good or a bad thing? Group number 5's question is, should a person be able to defy nature? Group number 5, in 30 seconds or less, what did you talk about?
So we kind of used it as like it could be yes and a no thing. So for no, like in Frankenstein how they're building a living person, like that's not normal and it's weird. And then for like for like when you were over here talking about the example of like a heart failure, it's not necessarily like common, but
Should we be able to defy nature?
Yes.
Why?
The safe people that we love.
Okay. What if it's not only for good?
Well, I don't know, I guess if it's
What
like
would be a bad
for the
way?
better.
I don't know, let's think about that. I see many. These are questions, we'll finish these tomorrow too, that are going to drive our conversation throughout, and more, obviously, throughout reading Frankenstein. Okay? All of these connect in some way or another to Frankenstein. Okay? And it might be specifically and explicitly, put your phone away, and it might be abstractly, right? Like a theme or a general idea. We're gonna come back to these over and over and over again. Alright? And your opinion might change, or it might not, right? Or it might get stronger, or you might be on the fence, any number of things.